The 2-1. Lindor towards right center field. This one is back. It is gone! Grand slam! And Lindor puts the Mets on top. The biggest swing of the season for New York.
3-second differential. Shot clock, game clock. Shot clock down to 5. Here's Towns from 3. It's gone! Karl Anthony Towns with the dagger. 3-point field goal.
Knicks regain their composure. Towns, deep 3-ball with the sweep.
Yo, what is up, everybody? What is up? It is your guy, David, and I am back with another video. Took a couple days off, man. The beard ain't there no more. Got a fresh cut, feeling good, feeling better. Everything's going well, man. There's a lot to discuss, but today I want to discuss a very small part in what happened on Saturday, January 25th. Now, obviously, for us Met fans that know, January 25th was amazing day. Shout out to my guy Keith from Shane Sons, who had an extra ticket and hit me up and said, yo, I got this extra ticket. You know, guy doesn't want to go. Do you want it? I said, of course. You know, I had to get this haircut appointment in at 7, and I was like, it's 3:00, something like that. You know what? Let me get this ticket. I'm only 10 minutes from the park. Let me try to see if I could go by and just check it out. You know, I wasn't gonna be there for any of the autographs. You know, like I said, I had a haircut appointment, as you could tell, and I just wanted to go check it out, see what the vibe was, and it was dope. It was dope. You know, shout out to everybody that got there early and got there on their time slots to go get the autographs. Hopefully they do it next year where I can, you know, go in and be able to get my autograph and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it was a pretty cool experience, man. I can't even lie to you that, you know, just looking at everything and kind of seeing how everything was. It was a little bit unorganized and it was cold, you know, and hopefully they make everything a little bit more neater, a little bit more, you know, more organizable. But at the end of the day, it's the first one, I believe, since 2020. I'm sure I think they did have one right before COVID, if I'm not mistaken. Don't take my word for that. I could be wrong. But it was a really dope thing. Again, something for the fans to enjoy, to kind of get them hyped for the season coming up. They had a couple panels on the third floor, right where it's the Piazza Clubhouse. And they had a couple panels there. They had, you know, the young guys. They had guys, you know, the team from now. They had a panel for the 2015 Mets team. They had a panel for the retired number guys. They had Mike Piazza, Keith Hernandez, Darryl Strawberry, David Wright, Doc. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a dope thing, man. Kind of see a questionnaire and just kind of have everybody come together. And like I said, embrace the history, embrace what this organization has been through, and kind of get them ready for the upcoming season. You know, Juan Soto was scheduled to be there, but he couldn't be there due to some issues with his flight. But I'm sure he definitely would have. That would have been an awesome moment. But a lot of the guys that were in our team now were there, and it was dope. It was really cool. Everybody come together. I got some videos of me going into the clubhouse. You obviously get to see the new jersey, the new road jersey, alternate jersey that was announced earlier during that day. Check my social media out at Top Bunk Sports, so you could check that out. I posted it there, and it was like I said, a dope experience. Shout out to Steve Cohen and the New York Mets for putting that together for us, and I can't wait for them to keep doing it more and more. So you know, this thing could keep getting bigger. But there was something out of that caught everybody's attention, and it was when David Stearns and Steve Cohen were on the podium. And you know, we kind of, shout out to Mets Twitter. They're very vocal. We are a very vocal bunch. Shout out to Queens Baseball, man. If y'all haven't followed Queens Baseball yet, please make sure you follow the Pope, Rube, please make sure you follow Keith from Shane Sons, Edge, Josh, the accountant. Make sure you follow those guys, man, and keep up with the spaces that are going on throughout the day. And they'll get you, we get you informed with everything. They'll get you informed with everything. Sometimes I'll be able to join, sometimes I can't. But when I'm in there, it's always great vibes. Those are my guys, man, since day one. So I really give Queens baseball some love and join the spaces, man. Because even when the season starts and we do post game spaces, they're fun, man. Whether we win or lose, you always come out of that with like knowledge and knowing that you're able to just know more about the game through, guys that just love not only the game, but the Mets. So please follow Queens Baseball. But there was something out of Amazing Day that caught everybody's attention. And like I said, there was a panel for David Stearns and Steve Cohen. And, right when they're coming in or whatever, and they're about to talk, the fans automatically just start chanting, "Let's sign Pete." Right. Then they start chanting Pete Alonso. And then in the video, which I should have put up here, but I was running quick, so I'm trying to do this as quick as possible. You see kind of Steve Cohen go like this, like simmer down. David Stearns has his smile, the regular smile that we all know. And it's one of those things where you're interested in seeing if they're going to address the situation or not. Now, although I don't have the video of what he said, I do have the excerpt of the article, of Will Salmon. Shout out to Will Salmon from The Athletic, who covers the Mets, who does an amazing job. So please go follow him, read his articles, and show that man support, because he showed a lot of love to Queens Baseball by joining the Queens Baseball space and kind of doing a mini interview with us and really showing us love and support. So please follow him on The Athletic. Show him a lot of love, because he writes amazing articles for the Mets and knows what he's talking about. But he wrote a little article that I will put up here, basically describing the situation. Not there. Sorry, excuse me. I'll put it right here. Yes. So he goes, another chant started after the "Let's sign Pete," and it was Pete Alonso. Cohen then quipped, "Hold that for the end, okay?" Cohen followed with a blunt assessment. We made a significant offer to Pete," Cohen said. "He entitled to explore his market. That's what he is doing. Personally, this has been an exhausting conversation and negotiations. I mean, Soto was tough. This is worse. A lot of it, we made a significant offer. I don't like the structure that are being presented back to us, and I feel strongly about it. I will never say no. There's always the possibility, but the reality is we're moving forward. And as we continue to bring in players, the reality is it becomes harder to fit Pete into what is a very expensive group of players that we already have. That's where we are, and I am being brutally honest. I don't like the negotiations. I don't like what's being presented to us. Listen, maybe that changes. Certainly, I always stay flexible. If it stays this way, I think we're going to have to get used to the fact that we may have to go forward with the existing players that we have." The crowd applaud the answer. Now, David Stearns comes out and pretty much kind of says the same thing and kind of ends it with but I like the young guys that we have here. And I'm paraphrasing. And then there was like some boos. You could hear some boos going around after he said what he said. My thing with this whole situation, right? And I'm gonna just strictly keep it to Steve Cohen and Scott Boras, right? My thing is that at the end of the day, we all know what the situation is, right? The Mets offered Pete Alonso 3 separate offers. He declined all 3. At some point, and I kind of said this in my video when I did my recent video of, well, not recent, but my last video of what does Pete Alonso want. At some point, if you're Pete Alonso, you got to sit yourself down with Scott Boras and say, dude, what are we doing here? Yes, I do want a certain amount of money, certain amount of years. There's a certain contract that I want. But if I'm not getting that, if there's no heat coming my way in terms of teams trying to, teams being interested in me and trying to get me, then there's nothing I could do. Right now, the only team that's kind of showing interest in me is that they want me back, the Mets. It's not for the contract that I want, but listen, I got spring training coming up in a month. I gotta be there. I gotta know where I'm gonna be playing at because I don't want to go into the regular season, with not knowing what team I'm gonna be on. I want to go through the whole process and format of spring training and then go into the season with the team established. If that's on a 3-year deal and I'm not getting my 6-year deal that I want, then so be it. I just feel like this notion that Scott Boras is the man that's going to get you whatever you're looking for, which was the case up until this year. And we're seeing that with Pete Alonso. We have never, from my knowledge, we have never seen Scott Boras not be successful in negotiations for his clients. So this is the first time that we have seen Scott Boras not be successful in the exact amount of what his client wants. We have never seen him lose a negotiation in terms of what his player doesn't want. Now, I would say the closest would be Carlos Correa, but the Correa thing, in my opinion, would probably be he was using the Mets in some way to kind of up the offer. When it comes to a situation where Carlos Correa got what he wanted, but the Mets were kind of looking at his physical like, we don't like what we're seeing here. We're going to pull out. No other team was going to offer Carlos Correa the money that he got offered from the Giants, right? Which is $350 million. The Mets offered him $312. No other team was gonna offer him those two contracts. Only team that gave him as much as they could, Minnesota Timberwolves. They had him before, they got him again. So that's kind of like the closest that I would say would be to Scott Boras not the final offer not being what his client wants, but it was the best option at that point. Now you pivot back to Pete. It's the best option that Pete has right now in terms of what the Mets had offered him. No other team right now is budging to go get him. So Scott Boras playing this game where it's like, we're gonna hold out and wait. It's not working. You're hurting your client. That's the thing, is you're hurting your client. And for Steve Cohen to come out and be brutally honest, like he said, and say what he said, it just shows that it's like, dude, we can win with you and we can win without you. And I just want the fans to understand that where we are where we are at because of you and because of what you're doing to your client. We have to be honest with our fans. We're on social media. I mean, Steve Cohen tweets almost half the damn time, especially after games. He understands what these fans want. Yes, certain fans want Pete back. Certain fans don't. They don't feel like he's worth paying all that money for. The Mets are still trying to make it to where they can bring him back. But Scott Boras and Pete Alonso have not made that any easier. Another thing, too, is from what WFAN's Evan Roberts reported a couple of days ago, Scott Boras basically wants a situation where if Pete Alonso accepts a deal with opt-outs, that Pete Alonso should get paid after opting out. And that, to me, is like, why would if you're Scott Boras, why would Steve Cohen do that? Like, I personally, when I read that, I was like, that to me doesn't make any sense, because he already doesn't want to pay the brother what he thinks he deserves. They obviously look at Pete Alonso in a different way. They don't think he's worth what Pete Alonso is asking for, right? Then I'm going to pay you for opting out of this contract to try. Not only am I paying you to opt out of this, for opting out of this contract, but then you're gonna go out and look for more money and probably go somewhere else. Now, from Pete Alonso's standpoint, it's like, great, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get money for opting out, and then on top of that, the money that I get, if I get a bigger deal, if I get a bigger contract, depending on how I play, that adds up. on Cohen and Stearns' part, it's like, I'm not gonna do that. Why would I want to do that? Well, what's the point of paying you for opting out? I just it to me, it just doesn't make no sense. It really doesn't. So there's a whole situation. There's a whole situation with that. And when I mean situation, I don't mean to like kind of slow it down, but when I mean situation, it's who's going to budge first. Is Scott Boras and Pete Alonso going to take one of the offers? Or is Steve Cohen and David Stearns going to go ahead and say, you know what, we're officially ending the conversation with you. We don't want to bring you back. And of course, they're not going to say that publicly, but you got to think in their mind, they're probably coming to a term where it's like, you know what, we're sick and tired of this. We're probably going to go the route that everybody doesn't want them to go. And that's going towards move Vientos to first and putting Brett Beatty at third, right? Because we all know, listen, Brett Beatty, make the jokes all you want. That brother should not be wearing number 7. Personally, for me, that he should not be wearing number 7. But listen, that I'm gonna have to deal with that shit anyways. Brett Beatty has a lot to still work on. Okay, we've only seen him have success, major success in the minors. So when he gets here, he's up and down. Then when he's ice cold, he's ice cold. You don't see that brother ever again. So there's a lot of decision making to go around them. Again, like I said, if they go and they're like, you know, we don't want Pete back. We're done with this negotiation. We're tired of the bullshit. Let's go within in-house and let's figure this shit out. Which shout out to the Pope, who, you know, basically opened my mind. Like, listen, instead of you going out there, don't shout out to, you know, the Mets and their reporters who have basically said, the Mets have looked into Spencer Torkelson. Now, I looked at it from a standpoint of he's only 24. You maybe a change of scenery could make him an even better player than what he is in Detroit, and he has a lot of upside to him, right? So I'm like, okay, if they go that route, I won't be that upset. But then I'm like, yo, if we just take the chance with the kids, you're helping their growth even more. Not everybody likes it because you signed Juan Soto. So now the expectation is, yo, you got to bring in Pete. You got to bring a Bregman in here, which it's been confirmed that they are out of the Bregman stakes already. So you have that. A lot of situations, a lot of directions to go after. It's, to me, it's just getting really thin when it comes to bringing Pete Alonso back because of what Steve Cohen said. And because of how Scott Boras and his side, how they're acting. If I'm Steve Cohen, I'm looking at Scott Boras like, listen, brother, we're not backing down. We gave him 3 offers. We gave you guys 3 offers that we felt was comfortable. We didn't like the offer that you presented us to come back with. We're not even gonna either you take from the 2 offers that we offered, because the first one wasn't even from this regime, it was from Billy Epler. But the 2 offers that we gave you, which was the 3 years, 90 mil, and then the second offer, which was 3 years around the 70 mil range. If you can't take those 2 offers, we're done. We're done. Hopefully they pivot into like using the kids, or if they want, they can call Toronto up and be like, listen, are you gonna extend Vladdy, or what are we doing? Because if let's trade for him and see what we can do with him this year and possibly get him to sign. We could do like a sign and trade and something like that. So there's a lot of directions to go to. I do, however, I didn't put it up here, but I do, however, want to go ahead and just read what Scott Boras said, right? I think it's important because now it's like a he said, she said type of situation, and no, he's lying type of thing, right? It says, generally, from a star player's perspective, a short-term deal can be seen as a concession. Therefore, for 3 years, they might be a preference from a player side to have only player opt-outs and no deferred money. In Boras's 4 shorter-term deals after the 2023 season, none included deferred money. On the other hand, from the team's perspective, they may prefer more optionality on their side. Pete's free agent contract structure requires are identical to the standards and practice of other clubs who have signed similarity situated qualifying offer slash all-star level player, agent Scott Boras said. Nothing different, just established fairness standards. So he's saying that everything has been the same when we've pretty much negotiated. Like nothing's changed. So it's more of a he said, she said type of situation. But like I said, I think the Mets are kind of nearing a situation where it's like, yo, we're close to just saying, fuck that. We're not gonna deal with y'all no more, Pete. Thank you for everything you've done as a Met, but we're done with the bullshit. And I like I said, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I do want Pete back, but man, you're barking on the wrong tree right now, dude. Barking on the wrong tree. And you know, a lot of my fans are always making the comparisons of, oh, if Juan Soto signed for this, how come you can't sign Pete Alonso? It's at the end of the day, it's about who the player is and what he's done. And to be honest with you, sometimes those 40 plus home runs that he's been hitting, it doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit because they don't want to give a guy who all that money to. They don't want to give a guy all that money when he's okay on defense at first, right? He's gotten a little bit better, but while he's hitting all these home runs, he's striking out a lot, and his average is low. His average is low. Now he had a better year last year than when he had the previous, but just don't we've said how much of a struggle 2023 and 2024 was before the playoffs. So they're looking at it from an overall totality, not just the playoffs, and they don't feel like it's worth giving him all that money. So we'll see how long this drags on. I don't see Pete not signing until I would say spring training, but anything can happen. We saw it with Jordan Montgomery, we saw it with Blake Snell, and I know those are pitchers, but people now are in the situation of holding out until they get something close to what they want, right? Until they feel comfortable about signing a contract worth something that they want. So we'll see how that plays out, right? But I just wanted to do the short video, kind of just giving my intel and my opinion on the whole situation. It's very exhausting as a Met fan to kind of go through this, man, and whether he's here or not, I do wish Pete the best, man. It felt kind of awkward not having him around for Amazing Day, man, because that's a guy that is one of the best players on our team, and he gels by what the fans, with the amount of love that the fans show for him. So it felt kind of weird him not being there, but you got to move on. You got to move on, man. You really do. Hey, Jose Reyes won a batting title for the Mets, and then ended up signing with the Marlins in the off season that same year. So sometimes your favorite players go, man. And if that's the case with Pete Alonso, we gotta adapt, man. But I appreciate everybody tuning into this video, man. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. And as always, follow Top Bunk Sports on X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Let's go Mets. Peace out.